Hello lovely people, it's Candy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to bring you a VR to the wonderful Dawn Michelle over at Boho Tarot. Now, she recently did a video where she introduced a new tag called Hearth and Home decks. There are 8 prompts. I thought it was beautiful. It made me think about my decks as family and coziness and wonderfulness. And I thought I would join in. So I'm going to share my 8 decks, possibly a few more because I might cheat, that fit with this tag. So the first category is Hearth and Home, the deck that feels like coming home. And for me, that's the Lightseers. Now, this deck was gifted to me on my last birthday. It's edged in black, and this deck is the deck that sits in my mind, and if I'm using a different deck and I'm trying to locate a card that I might be having a blank on, this is the deck that I visualize in my head. I know that for lots of people in the community that deck is the Rider-Waite, and for me it is as well the Rider-Waite, but it's this deck first. I just feel really familiar with it, and I felt familiar with this deck from the get-go. It went from a deck that I got in November to my most favourite deck of the year by the end of the year. It was immediately placed into a really special place in my heart. I just love the images. The images I feel like I see myself in. I feel like I see community in them. I love the colours. It's just my sort of colour palette to fall into. It's bright and colourful, but it's also got kind of a muted vibe as well. It's both. And for somebody with the name Candy Morrigan, it's that dual aspect, bright and colourful and muted, just like my name. I just love it. I love everything about it. Every time I pick it up, I just know it's going to be an easy breezy read. It's going to chat to me. It really does feel like coming home every time I pick this wonderful deck up. So for my Hearth and Home deck, it has to be the wonderful Lightseers Tarot by Chris Ann. Now, category 2 is the Gather Together deck, the deck that makes you think about friends and family. And this is the category that I'm going to cheat on, because when I think of friends and family, I think about my kids, my 3 glorious kids. I think about the friends I've got on the school playground, their friends as well on the school run. And in the morning, before we get in the car to do the school run, Tilly every morning, sometimes the others as well, they say, can we have a card pull for the day? And I have a little altar set up in the lounge, and I do a card pull. And there are a few decks on there that will forever be me and the kids getting ready for school. Really does make me think of my family. The first deck is this gorgeous Garden Dragons deck. It's not tarot. None of these in this category are tarot. They're all oracle cards. This is absolutely one of our favourite decks. It's absolutely gorgeous. We always pull a card from this every morning to see what our dragon is. Tilly always takes the card from the top of the deck, and then she pulls my card from the bottom of the deck. It's just a nice little morning ritual we've got. Each dragon is linked to food and has got a keyword. It's just really beautiful. It's beautifully done. And I think this deck listens to us, because we could be having a conversation one moment and in the next moment we'll pull the matching card. And that's happened many times. So I think this is a little eavesdropping deck as well. And we love it. These are the backs. It's just gorgeous. So Garden Dragons is definitely a friends and family deck, a gather together deck. However, initially, this was the deck, the Mythical Creatures Affirmation Cards Spirit and Destiny deck. It's got 4 categories in this deck. It's got mermaids for water, dragons for fire, unicorns for earth, and fairies for air. So these are the backs of the cards. This was only a couple of pounds on eBay, and it is a really brilliant deck. The key phrases, I've said this before about this deck, they're deeper than you would expect. Like this card, I feel vital and alive, I am ready to take on the day. Or I've released all that no longer serves me. I am grateful for my body moving, it feels good. So the images are these very sort of animated, sort of Disney type images of mermaids and unicorns, but they are beautiful. And this often gets pulled in the morning as well. We all love it as well. Tilly in particular, this is Tilly's deck, she adores it. So that is the Mythical Creatures Affirmation Cards, but there is one more deck that has recently made it onto that family altar in the lounge, and that's this one, the Divine Dog Wisdom Cards. Now this was gifted to me by the gloriously amazing Queen Set, and I've not done a walkthrough of any of these, I don't think, and I really should. These are the backs, so they're quite big cards. If you compare it to the Mythical Creatures card, you can see they're quite big, but this is gorgeous too. This deck, oh, that reminds me of my Irish Terrier Maisie. It's just lovely. It's just a beautiful way to start the day. Look how deep some of these cards are. So it's not all fluffy puppies at all, this deck. It's just gorgeous. So this as well, this morning before the school run, I had to pull a dragon card, and then a dog card this morning got pulled. So these are 3 brilliant decks to work with kids and your family, and for me they will always be my gather together decks. So I promise you, Dawn, that's the only category I'm going to cheat on. I'm going to stick to one deck for all the rest of them. Now the next category is the Light Up Your Life category, the deck that lights your way through the dark. And for me, it's another oracle. It's my Iris Oracle, which gets worked with all the time. It's indie deck. It's not, I don't think it's available in the UK at the moment, but I found this secondhand, and I bought it because of how profound some of these keywords and phrases are for me on my healing journey. Calm within transformation. You can see some of these cards are really poignant for the path that I've been on. The death of the deceitful. If any deck for me has given me a way out of the dark, then this is the deck. Fire Mother. Look at that with the 3 eggs in the middle. I always think that I'm the circle breaker for my 3 kids. Every card for me has a real poignant message. No one is yours but you. So those 2 work beautifully together. How to protect, but also how to let go. Isn't that the way of motherhood? Everything you need too soon. Left out with the wolves. If you've walked a path of family scapegoating and abandonment, then you can see that some of these messages are spot on. Sitting on top of the world. It's just a beautiful deck. Love grows love. So it's a way through and out. The pink bubble fairy, something that is never truly yours. So it helps you to let go, where to hold on, where to change, and hope. Your dreams are closer than you think. So I absolutely love this deck. I have really bonded with it. It's one of my most, if not my most favourite oracle. It's just really supported me through some really dark days. So my Light Up Your Life deck, the deck that lights your way through the dark, is my Iris Oracle. Category 4 is the Rainy Days deck, the deck that you want to curl up with on a rainy day. And for me, it has to be the Dreams of Gaia. I love this deck. I work with it a lot. It's got a brilliant guidebook. I've spoken about this deck before. It's quite glossy. The pocket version isn't glossy, but it's smaller. But these cards never fail to delight. If I'm going to curl up with any deck to flick through and look at on a rainy day, then these are the images that I'm going to go to. It's a slightly different system to the Rider-Waite, so it gives you plenty of scope for studying and sitting with the guidebook and just revisiting the system. And I just love it. It's really healing. It tells you stories if you pull a row of cards. It's got a beautiful healing voice, and I think on a cold rainy day, if you've got some time to kill and you want to curl up with a beautiful deck, I don't think any deck gets better than the Dreams of Gaia. So that's my rainy day deck. Category 5 is the Harvest Nights deck, the deck that evokes harvest vibes or bonfire nights. And it's got to be the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. Not only because of the orange, but it's got lots of fires actually in it on the imagery. Of course, this is a deck that also has a series of books with it, 4 Raven Boys books, and there's more books being written now for some of the other characters' books, and they are wonderful. In fact, I have a video about the books and the deck, where I missed half the stuff, and the comment section for that video is golden, so I will link that video down below. But this deck, with all of its colours, even though you've got roses in full bloom, I've still got roses in full bloom in my garden, but it just reminds me of those darker autumn nights in the garden where it's getting dark early. The wood's still a green, but they're getting dark and quiet, and it's just got that sort of harvesty vibe to it. There is lots of flames in here. It's a beautiful Hermit card, a fantastic Queen of Wands card. This 7 of Wands is the card that made me buy the deck. I just thought it was the most brilliant depiction of the 7 of Wands. And look, you've got leaves changing colour. You've got the embers of fires and dark starry nights. It really does, for me, evoke this time of year with the flowers going over. And if you want bonfire nights, you've actually got them in the cards, loads of flames. It's just a really beautiful deck. The books are amazing. If you like the deck and you like reading, then honestly the Raven Boys books are brilliant. So that's my Harvest Nights deck, the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. Category number 6 is the Homemade with Love, the deck that feels like a homespun gift. And for me, I picked the Luminous Void Tarot, basically because this was my first big gift to myself on my tarot journey. It was the first indie deck I ever treated myself to. I bought it for the first Christmas of my first year of tarot. I never ever thought I would ever spend that sort of money on a deck. I just love this deck. Homespun perhaps not, but the artwork kind of does feel a little bit more homespun, just really soft, gentle, floaty watercolour paintings. that I think are just wonderful. Some of these court cards with their crowns, the way the crowns are painted, it's just really stunning. So it does have a homespun feel within the artwork on this absolutely decadent production of the deck. The card stock is just buttery and beautiful. That shuffleable, is that a word? Rose petal finish that just feels like absolute silk. It's just gorgeous. And I love it. I haven't worked with it as much as I would have thought. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's because it feels so super special. Perhaps I need to make sure that this is worked with in the coming months, or going into next spring perhaps. But I just love it. Some of these images are just so simple and hinted at and wonderful. Like I say, I love the crowns on the courts. I just really do. I think it's just incredible. So that's my homespun deck, the gift to myself of my very first indie deck, and I love it. The Luminous Void Tarot. Category number 7 is Thankful, Grateful, Blessed, the deck that helps you appreciate the good times. And for me, that's my Room of New Dreams deck, the Voyager Tarot. Now this is the deck that I bought to step away from healing and to step firmly into a new space. I did a lot of work over the years on healing, which is where decks like the Iris Oracle has helped. There's still ongoing healing. We all have things we have to heal from in life. But I had got to a point where I felt really well, and I suddenly realised I hadn't given myself time to dream again, to start thinking of new dreams moving forward. I'd been so focused on healing, I hadn't stopped to think about what am I going to do next, that healing that I've reached. And that's where this deck comes in, the Room of New Dreams. I thought I needed to go and sit in my Room of New Dreams. There have been so many interruptions, it's just not even funny. So what was I saying? I'm back. The Room of New Dreams deck. So this is category number 7, my Thankful, Grateful and Blessed. So this deck helps me to explore intuitively through these incredible collage images. New dreams, new paths forward. It helps me to be so thankful and grateful for the healing and the work that I have done. It also helps me to be thankful and grateful that the people that I once cried about not being there are gone, because the space that's now opened up to dream in for myself, I realised wasn't available before. And this deck is wonderful to fall into and to explore the images and to dream again. So this helps me to be thankful for the path I've walked, and really grateful and excited and hopeful for the future. And then finally, category 8, my Comfy and Cozy deck, the deck that's always there for you. And this is as much a surprise to me as it may be to some of you, because I kept coming back to the same deck, so I just went with it. The Muse Tarot. Now last year this was the only deck that I very nearly rehomed. I just thought it wasn't for me. It was not the first tarot deck I ever bought, it was the second deck I ever bought. This was the deck where I couldn't believe, I bought the Wild Unknown, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to get another deck, and this is the deck that I felt really extravagant with, because I thought, well, I honestly don't need another deck because I've already got one. Oh, foolish me. Little did I know what was to come. but it was the colours, the pinks, the turquoise, everything about this deck I loved visually. Just wonderful colours. However, every time I tried to shuffle it, I dropped it and I just couldn't get on with it. And then all the decks of 2020 came in and this kind of got put to the side. And I kind of thought to myself, collage decks aren't for me. This is the deck that made me completely do a 180 on not liking collage decks. And with that, I got the Muse back out and it hasn't been put away since. I'm finding it's pairing beautifully with other decks. The Voyager as well, it looks beautiful with the Voyager Tarot. I've used it such a lot this year. I always feel that we've got affinity together because I did nearly get rid of it. And I feel like the deck knows that and says, well, I've always been there for you, just waiting for you to change your mind. So it's been with me right from the very start of my tarot journey. And it's just sat there waiting for me to fall in love with it, which I now do. I know that if I come to this deck with a problem, it normally gives me incredibly magical advice and readings that I gasp really at the magic. The imagery in the cards as well often works in a really magical way for me. It never fails to impress me with its magic, and it's always been sat there waiting for me to discover it. And who knew? It does make me feel like I never ever want to get rid of a deck, because I was almost positive I was going to rehome this. I am so glad I didn't. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I've been working with it again over the last few weeks with the Sacred Creators Oracle, which is another Chris Ann deck. Those two pair beautifully together. I'll put a picture in here of that. Another interruption at the door. Somebody's just knocked on the door and walked off. Is that a parcel? Let's go and see. A parcel. Can we just say that this week I fell off the depth year wagon and bounced along the road and then fell off a cliff. There might be a tarot haul coming soon. Even my dog agrees in his crate. So that was a parcel. Back to decks, the Muse. Yeah, just love it, love it, love it. I can't believe I'm saying that this is the deck that's always there for me. My dog's scratching in the background now, but it is. It's always in there for me, waiting, just waiting for me to love it like it knew I would, and I do. So that's it, guys. My 8 decks with a few extras that sum up my Hearth and Home decks. It was a lovely tag. I've really enjoyed thinking about decks in this way. I'll link Dawn Michelle's original video down below so that you can go and see if you haven't already, play along. And thank you, Dawn Michelle. I've really enjoyed that. Thanks guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.